All right, Josh, let us begin. Let's kick things off with the Clayton Kershaw news because this is the biggest news I think that we've gotten. Initially, when I saw this, because Clayton Kershaw posted on Instagram, I thought it was his retirement post. I thought, just based off the photo, based on everything, I thought Clayton Kershaw was announcing his retirement. It wasn't that. I guess this is somewhat better news because he hasn't retired officially, but Clayton Kershaw announced last week he underwent a surgical procedure to repair the glenohumeral ligaments and capsule of my left shoulder. Josh, we went to ASU. Uh, have you heard these words before? Can you point out where exactly those parts are on your body?
I don't think it matters where I went to school. I didn't major in whatever that is. So no.
Right.
It's gonna be in this area.
Yeah,
In
somewhere
the
somewhere
shoulders.
below
He said
the
shoulder,
face.
right?
Shoulder. So
So
Clayton Kershaw,
it's in the shoulder.
there you go. Somewhere in the shoulder. So he undergoes surgery on the shoulder, which I guess is good news because this pretty much confirms that Clayton Kershaw didn't just fall off in the second half. He was dealing with this injury that a lot of us kind of expected. So I guess that's somewhat good news. I believe this is the first like actual surgery that Clayton Kershaw has ever underwent in his entire career. So it is a little bit scary, especially, in year 17 undergoing something like this. But again, I guess it is positive news that it just confirms that he was struggling because he was in a lot of pain. But Josh, that's not even my biggest takeaway from this. Not the fact that Clayton Kershaw is undergoing this surgery. Because if you scroll down a little in the post, he ends it with, I am hopeful to return to play at some point next summer. So if you're Clayton Kershaw and you were kind of pretty much set on retiring, why would you undergo this intense surgery? You wouldn't have to. By saying, I hope to return to play next summer, that pretty much reads to me he's going to be back. Now, whether or not it's with the Dodgers, whether or not it's with the Rangers, I guess that remains to be seen. But I think Clayton Kershaw kind of low key just said, hey, I'm going to be back next year. At least that was my takeaway from this.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seemed like. That's basically the way that I took it, is that he's going to be back for another year. And I feel like, again, I don't want to speculate too much, but for me, this is not a post that needs to be made if he's retiring, right? And even if he's not sure yet, the fact that he states, I'm hoping to be ready to go by summer, is also not something you would say if you plan on retiring. So
Right.
to me, it makes it sound like he's coming back. And again, the way that he states this is not like, oh, we're going to see what happens and see where I end up. Like, it's like, I will be back. My intention is to be back XYZ at this point next year. So it's like, for me, that makes it sound like not only does he intend to be back, but to me, it kind of implies that he intends to be a Dodger.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, again, he could choose to retire, and his decision we won't know for some time. But when I saw this, I'm thinking, again, one, that's how you worded it. Two, why would you undergo this intense surgery with this intense recovery period if you're just going to retire? There would be no need for that. So hopefully that's the case. And Josh, if Clayton Kershaw is back, this actually benefits the Dodgers in a way, because if he's not going to be back till at least next summer, there's also not a guarantee that he even pitches next year based on how the recovery is going to go. Clayton Kershaw, I think, made $20 million this past season after all the bonuses and everything. If he would have been fully healthy, he probably could have gotten something close to that range again. I can't see him making anything more than like 5-6 million, just because his uncertainty of next year, he might be out more than half the year, he might not pitch. So this could benefit the Dodgers, where they need a lot of money to spend this offseason. Maybe they could work out a contract with Kershaw where it's like, again, a base of 3 or 4 million, then maybe add some incentives on it where it can take it up a little. But you're potentially saving 10 to 15 million with this Kershaw contract, where every dollar is going to be valuable. So if Kershaw comes back, that's a huge bonus for the Dodgers. But if you're getting him back at a 50, 60, 75% discount, I mean, that, again, it sucks that he's having to undergo this surgery and he's going to miss half the year. But that'd be an absolute bargain for the Dodgers if that's the case.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. If you can get him on a 1 year as a bargain, I see absolutely no reason why you wouldn't do that, even if he's only going to be there for half a season.
Yeah. So again, we'll see. We don't know what his decision is, but I would assume because of this, he's leaning towards coming back. One can only hope. But Josh, there were already a lot of uncertainties with the Dodgers starting rotation next year. We kind of talked about the question marks and how Clayton Kershaw may or may not be there. Well, the Kershaw officially missing half the year. I think that just shows they really need to head home on starting pitching, which we'll probably get to later in the episode when we become general managers of the Los Angeles Dodgers. But that Kershaw news was big. Like I said, I'm glad it's not a retirement post. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to come back, if it's with the Dodgers. If it's with the Rangers, Josh, I know we kind of really didn't talk about the whole World Series thing, but I know Clayton Kershaw's been kind of rumored to be going to the Rangers the last couple of years. Now that the Rangers have won the World Series, they have a number of great pitchers in their starting rotation. Do you even think that the Rangers need or want an old kind of banged up Kershaw at this point anymore?
I would say no, but again, they've got some guys who are also free agents. Obviously, Jordan Montgomery is the biggest one, another lefty. But there's also a chance that they bring him back. So I'm really not sure. Maybe if a guy like him leaves, then maybe they would go after somebody like Kershaw. But again, like if you're the Rangers, I think it really depends on what your starting pitching outlook looks like. Because again, like we're talking, if Kershaw's ready to go by the trade deadline, we're talking about a team that likely is going to be very good again next year. And again, we said this on our last show, like the Rangers were a wild card team, but they were a wild card team that if they had won their last game of the season would have been a division champion, would have been one of the favorites, right? Like it's kind of a cop out to say that they were a wild card team, which of course they were, but
yeah,
they're a good wild card team. So they're expected to be good again next year. They are going to be returning a lot of guys. There's no reason to expect why they wouldn't be good. But look, like, regardless of who they bring back, if they were to get a guy like Kershaw, that is an immediate boost to your starting rotation come the trade deadline. That's like acquiring somebody at the deadline.
Yeah.
If Kershaw's healthy and he comes in ready to go for the second half of the season in a playoff push, regardless of where you're at in the standings, that's going to be huge for a team like them. So maybe they do, but I think it depends on who they lose and who they bring back. And for me, for the Dodgers, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer, no second guess whatsoever. Bring back Clayton Kershaw on a deal that makes sense for you and for him, especially considering that he's going to be out for half of the season likely.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's interesting because now that the Rangers are good, it's like, do they want him? Do they want to build the all-injured rotation of Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, and Jacob deGrom? Who knows?
Oh my God, 2014, that would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, it would have been insane. So I think that'll be interesting because, again, I know a lot of people have been talking about Dodgers, Rangers for the last couple of years, but now it's like, do the Rangers want him? Do the Rangers need him? Not that the Dodgers are going to be like bidding, against themselves, but I think he's back.